Hey guys, it's Jen. Today I'm going to show you how I make my cloth diaper pail liners. It's super easy. The two main supplies that you will need to make this is your PUL fabric, which is your polyurethane laminated fabric. I know a lot of people have questions about that. It's what's used on the outside of cloth diapers to prevent leaking. It's a soft material. It has a shiny inside part of it. They come in many colors, and this is a print that I'm using. So a lot of different, options as far as this goes. And then you'll just need fold over elastic. So that it's fold over elastic, in case you don't know, it's just got the little seam there where it just folds over easily, and you can just sew it onto your fabric. So it really depends on the size of your diaper pail for the size that you need to make your pail liner. For mine, I have kind of a slender and tall diaper pail, and the measurements that I am using is 22 inches wide and 32 inches tall. And I believe that's what it is. Now, what I like to do, for what I did for my my first daughter, and then this is for my son, baby number 2, instead of sewing the bottom, I use the bottom of the fabric that is, the way that it's on the bolt, so you don't have a seam at the bottom to, possibly cause, leaking or anything like that. So the bottom is just a fold of the fabric. And all I do is sew up the sides. So I didn't even cut anything off the top. This is the full length of how it comes on the bolt. So super easy to cut this out, get it ready to sew. For my daughter, I made her pail liners as well, and they have held up great over, she is almost 2 years old. In a couple weeks she'll be 2. And they have held up perfectly for, washing diapers, at least 2 times a week, if not 3 times a week. For hers, I made them just a little bit smaller because my diaper pail wasn't as tall with her. But I still used the fold at the bottom of the fabric. So yeah, and for the fold over elastic, like I said, it really depends on the size of the diaper pail, for the size of your fabric, for what you're doing. But I just got a couple yards here. I'm making 2 of them. I'd say allow probably about a yard, because even if I tell you an exact amount, you might not even use that, because it depends how taut you pull this as you're sewing it onto your fabric. So anyways, those are the main supplies that you need. And of course, your sewing machine, thread, and scissors, all that main stuff. I am going to use my serger to sew the outside seams of my bag. If you do not have a serger, no worries. You can do it with a basic sewing machine. That's how I made my daughter's first pail liners, because I did not have a serger at the time. And like I said, they have held up perfect, and no issues over the 2 years that we've been using them. So this was just with a basic sewing machine. I do about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance with just a straight stitch. Make sure to seal your ends, get a good secure back stitch going there, and just sew up the side. And I am going to use the serger to do the ones that I'm making now. So I like to start sewing my edges on the folded end, so you don't end up with any bunched fabric if you start on the other end down here. So start on your folded end of your fabric and start sewing up one side, and then you'll do the same thing for the other one. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that you have both of the sides sewn up on your fabric, this is what mine looks like. I didn't use the serger like I mentioned, and if you did not, it's just going to have a regular top stitch like this one. So now you have, the bottom of your bag has the fold here, and both of your sides are stitched up. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but you do want the shiny side of your fabric on the inside. This is the waterproof material that's going to hold the dirty cloth diapers. So you'll have your, print or, color fabric, whatever, on the outside. and that's what you sew on the soft side. And then on the inside is your shiny waterproof material. I didn't mention that, you know, about how much this bag would, you know, cost me to make. I got the material from Joann's Fabric, the PUL along with the fold over elastic, and I used 50% coupons. So the fabric itself for the print was, I believe, $14.99, and I'm not using quite a yard for each of the bags, but I went ahead and purchased 2 yards. So I don't know, I'd say, you know, it really depends on the size that you're making your diaper pail liner, but it's gonna be pretty much half the cost of what you would pay if you were to buy one. The next step with making your pail liner is to sew the fold over elastic to the opening of your bag. If you are using a serger, you want to go ahead and switch over your machine to a basic machine. Okay, now that I have my basic sewing machine up here, I am going to do a zigzag stitch on the top of the fold over elastic for the top of your pail liner. And I put mine on the number 4 setting on my machine. It's just a wide zigzag stitch, so I do that, and you want to test out your stitch to make, you know, on sample fabric to make sure that it's a good stitch and everything's set right. So this is what my stitch looks like, the number 4 on my machine. So that's what I am going to use for the elastic top of my pail liner. You'll just start off placing your fold over elastic anywhere on your bag. I'm kind of starting just right here at one of my seams of the bag. So you'll just put your fold over elastic on. There's no need for pinning or anything because you're going to stretch the elastic as you sew it. And I don't cut the elastic because you never know exactly how much you're going to use. I don't cut it until I am basically finished sewing, which I will show you that part too. So you'll just go ahead and put that on, and then you will start sewing your zigzag stitch on top of this. You'll want to try to keep the bottom of the zigzag stitch to the lowest of the elastic here so it doesn't start rolling up on the bottom. So just make sure to keep that in mind when you're placing it in the machine. So I have got mine lined up here, so I'm going to go ahead and start stitching that. Now what you do, you want to make sure to turn your needle with the hand dial to make sure that you already have your needle down in the elastic, because you're going to start pulling the elastic tight to make it tight where it stays around the top of your diaper pail. So you want to make sure that in the fold over part of your elastic that you're keeping your PUL fabric pushed up to the top, and then you're just going to sew your zigzag stitch all the way down, pulling the elastic as you go. So I'm going ahead and start my stitching. Don't pull your fabric at all, just the elastic, because that's what's going to make the bag tight. And you don't want to do it too much, but just enough to where it's going to be a tight fit. You don't want it to make it too small. So just kind of use your judgment as far as, you know, how tight. You'll do a little bit and then stop, get your elastic lined up again, pull your elastic, and then start up again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, stitch it all the way around, and then I'll show you what we end up with. Now that I have gone basically all the way around the top of the bag, pulling it, I'm going to kind of pull it a little bit and trim. I'm just guesstimating. I'm just going to trim a little bit here. Pull it to about where I will pull the tightness to, and trim it. And then as you sew, you're going to hold on to this, kind of work your way down towards the end a little bit more. And then going to lift up my presser foot here. I'm going to fold over the edge of my fold over elastic. So I folded it in, so you're not just going to have a raw frame in of elastic. You're going to have a folded edge here, and so this is what you are going to sew over right here to finish the bag. So you can see that I folded that over right there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. And you'll want to make sure to go over to the edge that you started with and then do a back stitch to make sure that you have a good secure stitch there to hold the elastic. So after that, you are finished sewing the top part. Now that you have finished sewing your bag, you have the top part elastic sewn, you have your sides stitched up. There's just one more step that I like to do to complete the bag. I don't know how necessary or whatever it may be, but I figure it can't hurt. So this is what I did on the ones I made for my daughter, and they have held up for 2 years now, so I'm going to do the same thing on this. And that will be to, with my iron, I'm going to go over just the very edge from where I did my stitching, because heat seals PUL. It's going to kind of melt together a little bit where I did my stitching and kind of fill those holes from stitching to prevent leaking in my Pail liner. Same thing with the heat from washing it. It's not recommended to dry PUL every single time because it can delaminate and ruin the PUL, but I like to just do this with the iron. It's going to help seal my edges just a little bit more. Carefully just go just right where I did my stitching, probably 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 of an inch, just kind of whatever you know, your seam allowance ended up being, or just over your serging, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just whatever you do when you're ironing, do not go on the bag. Only use, you know, the pointy tip of the iron to do just the side, very edge of the PUL, of the Pail liners. Because if you get more on it, it's going to seal the whole thing together and then your bag will not function properly. So just do the very edge right here where your seam is. So once you've completed that, your bag is ready to go. You can wash it if you want to before you start using it, but since we sealed the edges with the iron, if you do that, it's not necessary. I'll probably just go ahead and throw it in with the diaper laundry before I start using it, before he gets here. So I'll go ahead and put it in his diaper pail and show you how it works in mine. Okay, I have it in there. The way that this one works, you're not going to see it folded over on the outside of the trash can diaper pail, but it's just on the inside like this. And it goes right on this little plastic thing, and you can see my cute little print. You can't see it when it's in there, but you know. So yeah, that's the diaper pail, and it goes all the way down to the bottom. You'll throw your diapers in there, take this out, wash it with your diapers, put another one in, and you're good to go. And for this diaper pail that I have been using for my daughter that I showed you, that just has the straight stitch on the side, I'll show you how that one works in her diaper pail as well, because that one is a little bit different. This is my daughter's diaper pail that we've used with her since she was newborn. We're starting to potty train, so we're not using it as much, and I'm keeping it in the bathroom now because that's where, you know, diapers go, because we go and use the potty, you know, in the morning and whatnot. But it's a stainless type of trash can, just like the other one that has a print on the outside with the foot that raises it up. So this one just sits, you know, just wrapping around the top of it. And like I said, this one is smaller, so I did use a smaller Pail liner. But yeah, that's just how it works, and that's how it'll work just on any regular old trash can, diaper pail, whatever you use for your diaper pails. So here is our finished product. I hope that yours turned out great. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will try my best to reply to those and answer any questions. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. Pregnancy brain has definitely set in big time this time around towards the end of the pregnancy. So if I did, I'll just add in text, and I hope that I covered everything, and have fun making your own pail liner. Bye.